Well, the Biden administration will begin phasing in new tailpipe emissions rules for passenger cars and trucks. The rule passed on Wednesday is another push by the administration to accelerate the transition to EVs and hybrids, even as drivers express some concerns about the lack of EV infrastructure. Our next guest is looking to build out that infrastructure, and we've got Terry O'Day. He's In Charge Energy CEO. Terry, it's good to talk to you today. How big of a bump do you expect to get for your business as this transition to EVs accelerates?
Well, our business is already growing year over year. We're over 250% growth for the last 4 years. So this new regulation is really an opportunity to align the industry against some targets and provide some investor certainty as we seek to build out the infrastructure. We'll have some certainty to know that the vehicles will be there on the road.
And Terry, in terms of maintaining some of that infrastructure, obviously people are still waiting to get, a supercharger that's close to them because, some of these level 2 chargers still taking a considerable amount of time. How should people be viewing that when it comes to the speed of repair and maintenance that also needs to come with this infrastructure change?
Sure. Well, already for most people, the answer to the question, where is the closest charger, for me, is in your garage, right? So as we build out the on-road charging solutions and we build out more fleet depots and we reach more people in parking lots where they might be working, or if they're in apartments where they might park overnight, that infrastructure continues to grow. And it's really remarkable how far it's come along already. But for our company at In Charge Energy, we design, engineer, install, and maintain the charging station. So we have a team of service technicians in every state and province in North America that goes out and services these chargers so that you can rely on them being operational when you show up to charge your vehicle.
On the issue of multifamily units, I keep bringing this up as somebody who drives an EV and has an apartment. It is really hard to find a place that has that kind of infrastructure in place for those who live within the apartment. And I live in California. Why has that deployment been so slow? And what needs to happen to accelerate that?
Well, that is a tough one because you have both the tenant and the landlord that you have to work with to get a solution for a multifamily residency, right? So what you probably will mostly rely on until that infrastructure evolves, you'll rely on the on-road charging stations like the superchargers you mentioned, or like the existing gasoline fueling model that we have relied on for all of these years. And these chargers are getting faster and faster, and the reliability is getting better, and they're becoming more ubiquitous and throughout our cities and in connecting our cities. So you can find these chargers and you can use the vehicles just as you have with your gasoline powered vehicle, but get even better performance and lower maintenance costs.
And Terry, I have to ask, for some of these partners that you work with, what are the key selling points when someone is deciding, should I move my fleet to EVs, that I want this, a dependable source of being able to charge, but then some of the costs for some of these installations as well. How do they really balance those costs?
For sure. Well, we are focused on fleets in particular. So some of our customers include UPS, FedEx, PepsiCo, Anheuser-Busch, and these companies are coming to electrification and choosing electric vehicles because it saves them money in operating their fleets. And when they save money operating their fleets, they get to pass those savings along to consumers. What these fleets are doing is they're making these investments now, anticipating these savings over time. And the real leaders are continuing to make these investments in their infrastructure so that they can remain competitive as this new technology evolves.
Terry, what does that investment look like? To what extent have you seen an increase in that capital spend, specifically around charging stations, if you're talking about some of the biggest companies that are deploying their fleet?
Yeah. Well, in the fleet market, you're seeing multi-million-dollar commitments from some of these major brands. And the leaders have made these commitments because they can see that already the cost of operating an electric vehicle is lower than the cost of diesel or gasoline. And just as importantly, the cost of the fuel is more consistent than gasoline or diesel, which fluctuates a lot. So the consistency provides your fleet managers the opportunity to forecast their costs and to save their customers money. So each of these companies has made multi-million-dollar investments, and we also serve school districts, for example, that are very focused on saving money and getting money back into the classroom and keeping our kids healthy. So we have some of the largest school bus deployments with electric fuels in the country. And we provide those charging stations for them to keep those vehicles on the road and safe.
So Terry, what does the product roadmap look like from here as, the Biden administration investing more in this space, but then you look at what some of the global competition is doing, not just with installing some of these chargers, but also things like battery swapping technology?
Battery swapping is a really interesting technology and opportunity, as we know that, when we talk about real estate, there's three things to think about: location, 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 right? With electric vehicles, there's also three things, right? It's batteries, batteries, batteries. And so battery swapping is a way to kind of reduce the cost of operating your vehicle by allowing you to offload the battery and charge it offsite and then switch into a new battery. But really the technology for batteries is that it's getting less expensive because we're manufacturing them on a larger scale. And as these battery costs have come down, that's where the long-term lifetime costs of operating your electric vehicle are now beating diesel. And so that's why fleet managers are beginning to find electric technologies as a solution to reduce their costs, provide them more certainty, and give them lower maintenance requirements.
The EV revolution is kicking into high gear, and the Biden administration is stepping on the gas pedal. With new tailpipe emissions rules on the horizon, the transition to electric vehicles and hybrids is becoming an unstoppable force. But the real story here is about the infrastructure needed to support this seismic shift. Thank you for tuning in to InvestMinder. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button and turn on notifications to stay up to date with our latest investing videos. Remember, we're not financial advisors, and this content is for educational and entertainment purposes only. All right, let's dive into the juicy details. The CEO of InCharge Energy, Terry O'Day, is at the forefront of this EV infrastructure revolution. His company has experienced a staggering 250% growth year over year for the past 4 years. With the new regulations providing certainty and alignment across the industry, investors can expect even more opportunities in this space. But what does this mean for the average consumer? O'Day believes that for most people, the closest charger is already in their garage. As more on-road charging solutions, fleet depots, and workplace residential parking lots are equipped with charging stations, the infrastructure is rapidly becoming more accessible. InCharge Energy is doing its part by designing, engineering, installing, and maintaining these charging stations. They have a team of service technicians in every state and province in North America, ensuring that the chargers are operational and reliable when you need them. One of the biggest hurdles in the EV transition is the lack of charging infrastructure in multifamily units and apartments. O'Day acknowledges that this is a tough challenge, as it requires cooperation between tenants and landlords. Until that infrastructure evolves, he suggests relying on the growing network of on-road charging stations and the existing gasoline fueling model. Interestingly, these chargers are becoming faster and more ubiquitous, connecting cities and offering even better performance and lower maintenance costs than traditional gasoline-powered vehicles. But what about companies and fleets considering the switch to EVs? O'Day highlights that the key selling point is cost savings. Major players like UPS, FedEx, PepsiCo, and Hair-Bush are embracing electrification because it saves them money in operating their fleets. These savings can then be passed on to consumers. These industry leaders are making multi-million-dollar investments in charging infrastructure, anticipating long-term savings and positioning themselves to remain competitive as the technology evolves. Even school districts are joining the movement, recognizing the potential to save money and keep their students healthier by switching to electric buses. While the adoption of electric vehicles is accelerating, the infrastructure to support this transition is still playing catch-up. O'Day acknowledges that one of the biggest challenges lies in providing charging solutions for multifamily units and apartment complexes. It's a complex issue that requires cooperation between tenants and landlords, and progress has been slow. However, he remains optimistic about the future, emphasizing that the existing network of on-road charging stations and the traditional gasoline fueling model can serve as a reliable interim solution. As more cities and towns are connected by a growing web of charging stations, the convenience and accessibility of charging will continue to improve. Interestingly, O'Day highlights that these charging stations are becoming faster and more efficient, offering even better performance and lower maintenance costs than traditional gasoline-powered vehicles. This is a significant selling point for companies and fleets considering the switch to electric vehicles. Major players like UPS, FedEx, PepsiCo, and Anheuser-Busch have already made the leap, recognizing the long-term cost savings potential of electrifying their fleets. By embracing this technology early, they are positioning themselves to remain competitive as the industry evolves further. The investments being made by these companies are substantial, with multi-million-dollar commitments towards charging infrastructure. O'Day points out that even school districts are joining the movement, lured by the promise of cost savings and the opportunity to provide a healthier environment for their students by switching to electric buses. Underpinning this transition is the rapid advancement in battery technology. O'Day emphasizes that when it comes to electric vehicles, it's all about batteries, batteries, batteries. One intriguing development in this space is battery swapping technology, which could potentially reduce the cost of operating an electric vehicle by allowing drivers to offload their depleted battery and swap it for a freshly charged one. However, the real game changer, according to O'Day, is the decreasing cost of battery manufacturing itself. As production scales up and economies of scale kick in, the lifetime cost of operating an electric vehicle is now beating out diesel and gasoline alternatives. This is a compelling argument for fleet managers seeking to reduce their operating expenses and provide more consistent, predictable costs for their customers. While the upfront costs of investing in electric vehicle infrastructure may seem daunting, O'Day emphasizes that the long-term savings and competitive advantages make it a wise decision for forward-thinking companies. As battery technology continues to advance and manufacturing costs decline, the total cost of ownership for electric vehicles is becoming increasingly attractive. This trend is not limited to large corporations and fleet operators. Even school districts, traditionally burdened by tight budgets, are recognizing the potential benefits of transitioning to electric school buses. By reducing fuel and maintenance expenses, they can redirect those savings back into the classroom, enhancing the educational experience for students. Undoubtedly, the success of this transition hinges on the availability of reliable and widespread charging infrastructure. InCharge Energy, led by O'Day, is at the forefront of this effort, designing, engineering, installing, and maintaining charging stations across North America. Their team of service technicians ensures that these stations remain operational, providing peace of mind to EV drivers. However, the road ahead is not without its challenges. One of the most significant hurdles is the lack of charging infrastructure in multifamily units and apartment complexes. O'Day acknowledges that this issue requires cooperation between tenants and landlords, and progress has been slow thus far. Until this infrastructure evolves, apartment-dwelling EV owners may need to rely more heavily on public charging networks and the existing gasoline fueling model. Despite these challenges, O'Day remains optimistic about the future of electric vehicle adoption. He points to the rapidly improving technology, with charging stations becoming faster and more efficient, offering even better performance and lower maintenance costs than traditional gasoline-powered vehicles. This trend is a significant selling point for companies and fleets considering the switch to electric vehicles. Moreover, the Biden administration's push for stricter tailpipe emissions regulations is expected to further accelerate the adoption of EVs and hybrids. This policy shift provides much-needed certainty for investors and industry players, encouraging them to double down on their efforts to build out the necessary infrastructure. As the world transitions towards a more sustainable and environmentally friendly future, the growth of the electric vehicle market appears inevitable. Companies like InCharge Energy are positioning themselves at the forefront of this revolution, offering solutions that not only benefit the environment but also deliver tangible cost savings and operational efficiencies to their customers. While the prospect of widespread EV adoption is exciting, it's important to recognize that this transition won't happen overnight. One of the biggest obstacles is the lack of charging infrastructure in multifamily housing units and apartment complexes. O'Day acknowledges that this is a complex issue that requires cooperation between tenants, landlords, and potentially even local governments. However, he remains optimistic that as the demand for EVs grows, so too will the incentives for property owners to invest in charging stations. After all, providing this amenity could be a major selling point for attracting and retaining eco-conscious tenants in an increasingly competitive rental market. In the meantime, O'Day suggests that apartment-dwelling EV owners can rely on the expanding network of public charging stations, as well as the existing gasoline fueling model. While not as convenient as having a charger at home, these options can still provide the necessary support for EV owners until more comprehensive solutions are implemented. Interestingly, O'Day also highlights the potential of battery swapping technology as a way to further reduce the cost of operating an electric vehicle. By allowing drivers to offload their depleted battery and swap it for a freshly charged one, this technology could potentially eliminate the need for lengthy charging sessions altogether. While battery swapping is still in its early stages, it's a prime example of the innovation happening in the EV space. As more companies and researchers explore new solutions, the barriers to widespread adoption continue to diminish. Of course, at the heart of this revolution is the ongoing advancement of battery technology itself. O'Day emphasizes that batteries are the key to unlocking the full potential of electric vehicles. As manufacturing costs continue to decline and energy densities improve, the total cost of ownership for EVs is becoming increasingly competitive with traditional gasoline-powered vehicles. This trend is already being reflected in the decisions of major companies and fleet operators who are making significant investments in electrifying their vehicles. By embracing EVs early, they stand to benefit from substantial long-term cost savings and a competitive edge in an industry that is rapidly shifting towards sustainability. Moreover, the Biden administration's push for stricter emissions regulations is expected to further catalyze this transition. By providing a clear policy direction and regulatory certainty, the administration is signaling to investors and industry players that the future belongs to clean energy and sustainable transportation solutions. As we've seen, the electric vehicle revolution is well underway, and the implications for investors and businesses alike are profound. While challenges remain, particularly in the realm of charging infrastructure for multifamily housing, the trajectory is clear. The future of transportation is electric. Companies like InCharge Energy are leading the charge, offering innovative solutions that not only facilitate this transition, but also deliver tangible cost savings and operational efficiencies to their customers. From major corporations to school districts, the allure of lower operating costs and a reduced environmental footprint is proving too compelling to ignore. Underpinning this seismic shift is the relentless march of technological progress, with advancements in battery technology and charging infrastructure continually pushing the boundaries of what's possible. As manufacturing costs decline and energy densities improve, the total cost of ownership for electric vehicles will only become more attractive, further fueling their widespread adoption. Moreover, the regulatory landscape is shifting in favor of clean energy and sustainable transportation solutions, with the Biden administration's push for stricter emissions regulations serving as a powerful catalyst for change. Investors and industry players would be wise to take heed, positioning themselves at the forefront of this revolution lest they be left behind. In the end, the transition to electric vehicles is not just a matter of environmental responsibility, it's a matter of economic necessity and competitive survival. Those who embrace this change early and invest in the necessary infrastructure will be well positioned to reap the rewards of a cleaner, more sustainable future. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the electric vehicle revolution. Be sure to subscribe to InvestMinder for more insightful analyses and investing perspectives. Until next time, keep your mind open and your portfolio green.
Thanks again for watching, and good luck with your dividend empire aspirations. Hope you found today's analysis helpful as you look for profitable new stock opportunities. This was InvestMinder. Remember, knowledge equals profit in the stock market. Thanks so much for watching, and please hit that thumbs up button if you got value from this video. Make sure you click to subscribe as well to get our next videos when we reveal the best new insider stock purchases. Invest wisely, trade carefully, and we'll see you next time. Disclaimer: InvestMinder is an independent stock market commentary channel for entertainment and basic informational purposes only. We are not licensed financial professionals and do not provide personalized investing or financial advice. P.S. If you stayed watching until here, you are awesome. Thank you for enabling me to keep making these videos with all the likes and subscribes. Have a great day, and we love you all.